Middle of the week, which means it's time for your Super Six. Dom and I will be completely, frankly honest with you. Not a whole lot of movement in this week's Super Six, but we are setting up for some stellar games over these next couple weeks that could lead to some moving and shaking.
We've identified the top 12 teams in our area in Florida and South Georgia, and when you win, you stay in your position. I mean, it's really simple, but we learned a lot this first half of the season. We're going to learn even more in the second half of the season, but enough of me. Let's get to the Super Six.
Let's get to it, and let's start in the Sunshine State, the state of Florida. No change at number 6 and no change at number 5. That is the North Florida Christian Eagles and the St. John Paul II Panthers, of course, both in that same classification of one suburban. Both really stellar football teams. NFC takes care of business at Taylor. JP2 on a bye. Everything holds steady for now.
Everything holds steady, right? JP2's been looking really sharp these first 3 weeks. Tremaine Hughes Jr. is an electric player to watch. NFC, it's about the offense. JP Pickles, you got Leon Washington. You can argue they haven't played a tough schedule to start, and that's fair, but when you win, you're going to find your way in our Super Six. They're outscoring opponents 141-17. Love their offense.
They're going to be playing a tough schedule, or at least a tough game this Friday.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit more on that in a bit. Before we reveal number 4 here, Madison County did lose again last weekend to Columbia. They've now lost 2 straight to 2 really good teams. Fitzgerald out of Georgia and CHS. We debated and debated and debated. Should Madison move? Should they stay? Should they fall out of the Super Six? And ultimately, for now, we've decided that number 4 is the spot that the Madison County Cowboys will stay. Listen, Madison, this is kind of a benefit of the doubt call to an extent, simply because Madison does this every year. They play these tough opponents way above their weight class. Sometimes they win and they look unbeatable. Sometimes they lose and they look all the better in November and December for it.
Yeah, and listen, you have to respect what they're doing. They get exactly what you said, punch above your weight class. Fitzgerald's ranked number 1 in 2A in Georgia. That's a really tough loss. And then Columbia, like you said, we know what we're getting with the Cowboys. We know they're deserving of that spot. It's going to be another tough test this Friday with Florida High, so we're going to see what kind of medal this team's got.
Meanwhile, what else can we say about Wakulla at this point? Just going in, taking care of business and once down.
They are so fun. They're just a well-oiled machine. I say it every week when we see the War Eagles just consistently at that number 3 spot. Brinson, Cleese, Blake, playmakers all over the field. I love this team, taking care of business.
It's hard to call an offense as flashy as Wakulla's Workmanlike. But that's exactly what they do. They come in, they do their job, they clock in, they clock out, and they beat another team by 30.
They lull you to sleep and then an explosive play. I mean, Xavier Blake, Samron Brinson, they are so fun to watch.
All right, so you may have guessed it by now. There is one change in our Super Six this week in Florida, and it is at the top. The Lincoln Trojans fall to number 2. The Florida High Seminoles take back the top spot that they had in our first Super Six rankings. And I got to tell you, this was a toughie because, again, there's no shame in losing to Bartram Trail, a really good football team. But to an extent, you are what your record says you are when you play in higher classifications of ball, like Lincoln does. And so we punish them just a little bit. But even then, 2-1, it doesn't matter. These 2 teams are going to play each other at the end of this season.
It was their first test of the season. Got a chance to see that game. And listen, Bartram Trail's really good. Too many self-inflicted wounds for Lincoln. It's not like they were outclassed on the field. Bartram Trail, after all, is a top 10 team in 4 suburban. That was a really good game. By this week, get a chance to lick their wounds. Colquitt County next week. And then Florida High's got Madison County this week. So we're going to see something from our top 2 teams, what their medal is.
Yeah, something's got to give here in our Super Six. Same in the Peach State. But for now, we'll be honest with you. We're not going to drum up suspense where there is none. Everybody stays the same this week, simply because nobody was worth losing. And, Early County, Valwood, they both have great cases to be in the Super Six. But when Brooks is taking care of business and Cook is taking care of business and Lowndes is the only one we really had a real struggle and debate about at that number 4 spot. But we decided if we can't move down Madison County, we can't move down Lowndes for playing a brutal schedule as well, because East Coweta is legit.
Yeah, and that's just what it was. I mean, I got a chance to see Brooks County beat Bainbridge this week, a really solid win for the Trojans. They're looking every bit as good as they were last year, but you have the head-to-head loss with Cook, and you have a very much higher classification in Lowndes, who plays perhaps a tougher schedule, right? I could see Brooks at 4. It's just with a good conscience, you couldn't do that. And then, I mean, you have the 4, 5, 6 right there, some debate. But then look at our top 3, Ryan. My goodness.
Yeah, Thomas County Central is going to be south of the state line, playing Godby this weekend. Valdosta, another tough test. And same with Colquitt County. But Lowndes, I think this Friday is the measuring stick for the Vikings. Grayson's coming to town.
Grayson ranked second in 7A. That is a prove-it game. Keep it close. I mean, listen, Lowndes could really show us something because they're on the verge here. They're a little bit, seats getting a little warm here in the Super Six. There's no doubt about it. Can we talk about how impressive Valdosta is? I mean, the improvement from year to year is remarkable.
Yeah, Shelton Felton. If we gave out a Coach of the Year award, maybe we should this year. Who knows?
Maybe we should.
But he's a guy, and so is Justin Rogers as well.
Oh.
Immense improvement for the Cats and the Jackets.
The buy-in with Thomas County Central and Justin Rogers, and then you have Colquitt County. The talent is just remarkable.
All right, so our Game of the Week poll, we're going to go ahead and call it. And I got to tell you, there was a couple different games here with teams that need some pushes in the Super Six. Early County's playing Mitchell. Mitchell's maybe not its best this year, but still, that's a chance for them to go 6-0. Another chance for them to make some impressions on our Super Six. NFC and Valwood. Eagles, you want to move up? Valwood, you want to be our first GISA team in the Super Six in Georgia? You have your chance here in Hayhira. This is going to be a fantastic game. JP Pickles, Pate Hogan, that's a whole lot of talent on both sides of the ball.
Listen, these are two teams vying for their spots, right? Our Super Six, NFC's got it, Valwood wants it. This game beat out Florida High and Madison County, so obviously the people want to see this one.
Yeah, absolutely. The Valwood Valiants and the NFC Eagles both got a vote, and they really took over this Twitter poll. I will be at Madison County, Florida High, unfortunately, and I got to tell you, I wish I could be at both of these games, but I've got to be back in town because of the Friday night block party with Florida State. You are not going to be here with us this Friday, so that's why we're not going to technically have anybody there, but we will have a camera there. We will have those highlights for you. NFC Valwood, you will lead off our show, and I cannot wait because I think that I do think on paper that is the best game we have this Friday.
Listen, a lot of offensive firepower. What more do you want for a high school football game in our Game of the Week? But yes, I will be attending a wedding, a little bit louder now, a little bit softer now. He's going to do a great job by himself.
I'll do what I can. I do owe you one.
That's true.
Taking over 2 weeks ago.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun time.
But listen, like I said, not a lot of change this week, but that could definitely be more a blip on the radar and not a trend as we head into a really exciting second half of the season.
Yeah, no question about it.
All right, there's your Super Six, y'all.